Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from FastGrowth Online. Thank you for downloading this very important workbook entitled Create Your Powerful Fast Growth Plan. What we're going to do in the next 10 minutes is discuss why this is so important to you, and then secondly, I'm going to give you a couple of valuable hints on using this particular workbook. Today I'm joined by Tim Bishop from Bonalek and Bishop, a law firm here in Salisbury in southern England. Tim, thank you very much for giving up your precious time to spend 10 minutes with us.
My pleasure.
Before we start the workbook and the context, can you just share with our viewers and the people who've downloaded this workbook what your company does?
Well, we're a full service law firm, and that means we provide a full range of legal services for private and business clients, both locally, regionally and nationally.
Super. And what is your role here?
My role is senior partner. As that, I have a number of tasks, including business development, leadership and an ambassadorial role as well.
Super. Thank you very much. So, of the 50 workbooks, I believe this is central to achieving fast growth in any company. We're here in England, and it's a very exciting time to be thinking about growing a business. This morning's paper, the UK Times, just show that to Tim, so if you can read can you just read the heading there, Tim, for us?
Britain's recovery outstrips the world.
And the subtext there?
IMF say raises growth forecast to more than 3%.
3%. We haven't had growth like that for many years. And it's a great time now to be thinking about growth, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So let's crack on with looking at the workbook and some hints. Now, you've actually used this workbook some time ago for one of your niches, and later on in this video you're going to share some successes, aren't you?
That's right, we have used it more than once and we're continuing to do so.
Great stuff. So can I ask you just to read the title page for our viewers, please?
Yes, of course. The Fast Growth Workbook for you to create your powerful fast growth plan. The purpose of this workbook is for you to create your powerful, one-page fast growth business plan for your business. The goal is that through your plan, within 12 months, you substantially increase your profitable sales.
So before we look at the hints, let's look at what the problem is. So if you turn to page 1, Tim, and perhaps you're going to ask you just to read that first paragraph.
What's the strategic problem? Companies that achieve sustained and remarkable fast growth are usually very clear about their target niche of customers that they focus on and offer a compelling service or product proposition to their chosen niche. Based on their niche and proposition, these companies have a shared, bold, fast growth goal that they believe in and are successfully implementing the right fast growth projects to achieve their goal.
And there are lots of other companies who are just the opposite. They're stagnant, there's stagnant growth. And I'm not talking about because there's been a major recession. Even now, with the economy moving, they're not really moving forward. So they've got stagnant growth because they're unclear about their niche and their proposition to their customers or their offer to their customers. And they lack a clear motivating goal and therefore not doing relevant projects. It sounds so simple, this, but this is the heart of how to achieve fast growth in your company. Okay? What I'm asking the viewer to do here, the people who've downloaded it, is just to rate themselves currently on a scale 1 to 10, where 1 is barely adequate and 10 is outstanding, in terms of how effective your current business plan is. Many of you will have put a lot of effort into the plan, but how effective is it? I'd like you to be objective, but not overly harsh, and put a score in, and then draw your conclusions. And when you've completed your fast growth business plan, come back to page 1 and just assess yourself again and draw your own new strategic conclusions. Make sense?
Absolutely.
This is on paper a very short workbook. So I'm going to go through it in a bit more detail to help our viewers. Okay? So if you turn to page 2, which is the heart of it, this is the one-page plan, which is this 4 components. Target niche, compelling proposition, key 1 to 2 year goal, and your projects, fast growth projects. So we're going to start with number 1 on page 2, which is define your target niche. Tim, you're a law firm. Tell us about the niches that you've identified and why.
Well, perhaps the most successful one we've done is called lease extension. That's when you have a residential lease of a flat or an apartment, provided it was originally granted for at least 21 years, so not short tenancies. And what many people don't realise is that they've got a legal right to force their landlord or freeholder to grant them an extra 90 years on the lease. Yeah. So perhaps if you've got 50 years left on lease, originally 99 years, down to 50 years, we can get an extra 90 years to put it back up to 140 years. Well, that's really important because first of all, it means you don't have to hand over the flat to your freeholder at the end of the 99-year lease. It also makes it easier to get a mortgage because mortgage companies don't tend to lend under 60, 70, even 80 years these days. And it increases the value of the flat.
I see that. You've used this business plan for the lease extension business. Share with us how you've done in the last 2 years from a growth point of view.
Well, so far we've grown by 80%. And in the next 18 months, we're planning for an absolute bare minimum of 100% growth on top of that. It could be a lot more, but I'm quite conservative.
Wow. Wow, the power of niches. There is a separate workbook, FastGrowth workbook, entitled that. But on this workbook, just decide your niche. And if you've got more than one niche, download more copies of the workbook and do it just for that niche you want to work on. Makes sense? Okay, number 2, create your compelling proposition for your customers in that chosen niche. Again, there's a workbook entitled that, and in that we focus on companies like Domino Pizza with their very famous proposition, fresh, hot, tasty pizza, delivered to your door within 30 minutes or you don't pay. Tell us about the value of the compelling proposition for this particular niche you've gone for.
Well, there's got to be a reason for a client to take it up. It's very much an optional service. Sometimes you don't have a choice. If you want to get split up from a partner or wife, you have to go through divorce. Not much choice really. But here it's very much an option. So our role is education, and we therefore need to find good reasons why people need to do it, and make it very clear and very concise and target the right people.
Okay. The third factor in this on page 2 is decide your key 1 to 2 year company goal. What sort of time planning do you use for a lease extension, etc., some of those businesses? 1 to 2 years or longer, shorter?
Well, an actual lease extension takes on average 6 to 9 months. Yeah. But our plan is, as I said, to double the work we've got currently within 18 months.
In 18 months, so it would fit with that. So creating a bold key goal. I think setting goals is so important to an entrepreneur. This is the current business here, that's my finger, and that's the goal, which is the thumb. If you set a goal that's very close to current reality, not much happens. If you set one up here, fair wind and a bit of luck, and the economy is now moving, often the bold goal will help drag up the performance. Of course, this analogy can sometimes fail because if I pull too hard, it creates too much stretch and it collapses. So that's a pretty bold goal you've set for that particular niche you've gone for. And generally, you're achieving it, aren't you?
Yes, this is very realistic. We think actually, if anything, we're being too conservative in our aims. We may exceed that, it may be 200% growth.
And then finally, think about the projects or the strategic actions that you're going to take to achieve your goal. And to help you with that, if you turn to page 3 and 3A and 3B, there's a list of the 50, we call them FastGrowth projects. They're all workbooks that you can select. So once you've decided your goal, have a look through those and just jot them down in your language about which projects you're going to go for. It's probably going to be 2 from that list and maybe 1 other. Make sense? And there you have it. You have a 1-page plan, which what's the niche, what's the proposition, what's the goal, and what's the key projects. Simple as that. And that's what you've done for that niche and others. Okay, so final thing is what's in it for you? What's in it for me? Okay, and that's on page 3. If you'd like to turn to page 3, Tim, and maybe just read the top of that page for us, please.
Evaluate the benefits to you of your plan. Over the next 12 months, when you successfully implement your FastGrowth business plan, specifically what business results will you achieve?
And your achievements, business results, And then how will these results increase your annual sales and operating profit? Do you use operating profit in your firm, or do you use a different metric?
No, we do.
Yeah. And then finally, what would the likely benefits of these achievements and results to you personally as the business leader and to your company? Very important, what's in it for me? So those are the 3 hints really. Be very clear about what the strategic problem is and how effective your current business plan is. Have a go at drafting your plan for your chosen niches, and then the benefits to you. And then the final tip on using this workbook is on page 5, which is decide your next action. And at the top of the page there it says, to refine your fast growth business plan, what are your immediate next actions? Okay. You may need to gather some more information or talk to a colleague or whatever. And then to successfully implement your key fast growth project, the first project on that list, what are your next actions? It's as simple as that. Okay. Tim, we've just focused on one of your niches and one of your things. It's been a very exciting couple of years for you. May I wish you every success and your team going forward. And thank you again for your valuable time today.
My pleasure, Christopher.